Heyo everyone, Zion over here from Nintendo Life, and you're not going to believe this. I just was walking down the street, and guess who I bumped into? The wild and crazy Persona loving fan himself, John Cartwright.
I'm back! Hi!
How's it going, John?
It's like putting on a pair of slippers that you lost under your bed for a while. And you put them on, and you're like, man, these feel just like I remember. You know that feeling?
Yeah. I'm glad to know that you think of me as a pair of slippers under your bed. No shame though. I'll hide there. I'll stay there. Just leave.
He'll lurk.
Leave me a bowl of water, and I'll be fine. I'll just ask for a pizza every so often. Can I have a slice? Well, how are you doing, John? You're at Good Vibes Gaming now, doing lots of wild and crazy stuff. I don't know why I'm obsessed with that.
Yeah, we're doing some non-Nintendo stuff every now and then, which I know is illegal, but we do some of that. I've just put together a video for Sonic and the Secret Rings, if anyone wants to hear my thoughts on that game.
It's just Sonic and the Secret Rings?
Oh yeah, I was going to do it as a storybook, like duology.
Yeah.
And I thought, nah, we'll split them up.
Oh my gosh.
So Black Knight's coming later.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. John's doing the real work over at Good Vibes right now. Today, we're not here, thankfully, to talk about Sonic and the Secret Rings or Sonic and the Black Knight, none of the storybook series of games. We're going to be talking about why you should be excited to play Persona on Switch. Because John and I are both fairly, maybe we're not like the biggest fans of the series in general. I know John's played much more than I have.
We're pretty high up there.
Yeah, but
we're high on the podium.
Yeah, we definitely like these games. And they're long, they're a commitment, but there's plenty of good reason that you should play these games. For anyone that doesn't know too, Persona 5, Persona 3, and 4 all got announced in the Nintendo Mini Partner Direct, which wasn't very mini, by the way. Still, I love that. It was just a big old chonk and direct. But Persona 5 Royal, which is kind of like the I don't know what you would even call it, like I guess the better version, I guess.
Yeah, I guess just the expanded version. It's not like an expansion. They've just kind of redone it with more stuff. There's a new party member. They redid the graphics a bit. Yeah, it's just kind of like the, I guess the better version.
Yeah, maybe a director's cut almost would be a fine. Yeah, like it's like the Snyder cut, but for Persona games, I guess. But that comes out in October, and then Persona 3 and 4, Persona 3 Portable, and then Persona 4 Golden come out sometime next year, but we don't know exactly. So you still have plenty of time to figure out where you're going to put these games into your list. But we want you to play them. I'll start us out. I think there's plenty of reasons why people should dive into these games. But one of the cheesiest things I think for me is just that like the fan base is so inviting for these games. I think maybe it's unfair to like say that some games there's bad, not bad people. That's not what I mean. But I think so for an example, the other day I bumped into somebody. Somehow it came up that we were both fans of Persona. And this was like a little event thing, and it wasn't a gaming event, by the way. So there was no reason for us to be talking about games. But yeah, we both learned that we like Persona, and we just chatted on and on about Persona 5 and Persona 3 and like all the different things that we loved about these games. And I even remember too from back in the day, like I've told John before, that I used to cosplay Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor character from the DS, and I would always go to these like Persona meetups, these like fan meetups at conventions where like all of the Persona people would like get together. John, it was crazy. It was a really weird. So cool. It was so nuts because you'd have like Ryuji from Persona 3 trying to like make friends with Aegis, or like Yu Narukami from Persona 4, and it was just such a really cool group of friends. And I remember that like even though that I hadn't played Persona 3 or 4 at the time, and I still actually haven't played Persona 4, but I remember even though like I hadn't played those games, like they were so cool to see somebody from like Devil Survivor, which is also in that Shin Megami Tensei Persona realm of games. And I think that's just genuinely like one of my favorite parts of it, is just how nice a lot of the people are that are into these games. Like they usually just like want to find somebody else to talk with. And I think I feel like you can attest to this, John, but these games are huge. And I think
they're massive.
Yeah,
you're talking they're all over 100 hours. There's a big commitment to these, but it's almost worth it. It's like once you've gone into a Persona game, it's like you live in that town. Like when I played Persona 4 Golden over the summer on Vita when it first came out, and Inaba is just this very small town. There's like a bit where you can fish. There's the school. There's the town where you can go to a few shops, and that's kind of it. But as you play, it just kind of becomes your own little, like, home for a while. So it does sound like a huge commitment, but I think the more you stick with it, the cozier it gets. And as you were saying about the fan base too, they have been very patient getting these on Switch. Like, Joker came to Smash, what, in 2018? 4 years ago at this point? So there's been a very, very patient fan base waiting for just Persona 5 in particular. But now we're getting all of them. So it's nice seeing that that's finally come to fruition. Your patience has paid off. And if you have held off playing Persona 5 waiting for a Switch version, then here you go. You're finally getting it.
Yeah. And really, like, I think having this game, or these games rather, on Switch is such a game changer. Because I know I've told you in the past too that I've probably told people on the channel before that I've personally started Persona 3, I think 3 times now, and put it down. I think just because of other games coming out that get in the way, and I think the furthest I ever made it was probably 30 hours, speaking of threes again. But I think having this game in a portable nature is also going to be just such a huge game changer, because there are so many moments in the game where maybe you want to go grind for XP, or you want to go spend some time and really chat with this character in the game, because there's a lot of moments of dialogue, but they're all fairly interesting things that you really want to invest yourself into and pay attention. But being like connected to a TV, I think is really, like, especially with the Switch these days, it's such a thing that it's so nice to be able to pull away from that and be able to play that same game anywhere. So being able to take like Persona 3 or 4 or 5 with you on a trip, or go play it in bed, or not have to worry about if you know, your family member or partner or party member, whatever you'd like to call them, is using the TV. I think that's a big deal, especially when, you know, maybe you want to spend 100 hours on Persona 5, and just being able to do that without any restraints is really freeing, and it gives me hope that I'm really gonna, people hold me to it, make me finish Persona 3, please. Make
him do it. Yeah, it's particularly important for 5 as well, because I think a lot of like the PlayStation crowd who played it on PSP, like PSP got Persona 1, Persona 2, and then Persona 3 Portable. There's a whole generation that grew up with like portable Persona, and then Vita got full golden. And so it only made sense for Vita or Switch to eventually get 5. And I thought everyone thought it was going to, but it didn't.
Right.
And so 5 is finally on a portable machine. I guess Steam Deck as well, if you're getting the PC version. But it's so cool that you can just take Persona 5 on the go for the first time. And with 3 as well, like kind of like you, I was playing Persona 3 FES originally, the expanded PS2 version. And I liked it a lot, like the vibe was awesome. But something about being tethered to a console was stopping me from finishing it. And so eventually I played the PSP version, Persona 3 Portable, which is what we're getting here on Switch. And suddenly it was just more manageable. Like, 3 Portable definitely has advantages and disadvantages compared to FES. But when it comes just to playability, just picking up the PSP and like playing just a few minutes, because yeah, there's big story moments in Persona. But there's also these little gameplay moments where you can just do like a social link for a few minutes, or you can just go into Tartarus or a dungeon for a few minutes. Just that pick up and play nature lends itself so well to portables. So having that for all of them on the Switch, and then 5 for the first time, yeah, that's massive.
This is a really like niche thing, and I feel like a very small amount of people are going to really care about this. But you kind of know how you were talking about how Persona 4, it was kind of like, it was like maybe like a little pocket in time for you almost, or like you injected yourself into this little world, and I even played Persona 4. So what was the town's name again? Were you saying?
Inaba.
Okay, Inaba. Like, imagine though being able to take that game with you and play that, like, I don't know, like in a park and cherry blossoms are like falling on the side. You've got headphones in, like just being able to look up and soak in the environment around you, I think allows that like immersion factor to really just be kind of leveled up in a way, just because you're not just stuck on the couch now anymore, or at your desk, maybe playing, or with the TV across from you in your bed or something. You really just being able to take it anywhere is just so cool. And even thinking back to, like, if I had the chance to play, I mean, I guess Persona 3 at the time when I was cosplaying was portable, but like I'm imagining seeing like all these Persona cosplayers like standing around like showing off their time in Persona on their Switches or something like that.
And they've got like Joy-Cons that match the game that they're representing. Like if you dress up as Joker, you've got red Joy-Cons. If you're you've got like yellow Joy-Con.
Oh, I love that. Obviously blue ones for Persona 3. I feel bad that we haven't talked about Persona 1 or 2 at all here.
It's a shame they're not here, but we'll take what we can get for now.
Yeah. And maybe someday they'll come over. Because, I mean, they did remake both of them, right, for PSP way back in the day? So
yeah,
I could see.
Yeah,
I could see it happening after Atlas has milked Persona 3, 4, and 5. Maybe we'll be lucky to get those two. But
3, 4, and 5 are all cut from like a very similar cloth. Like they're all about going to school and mixing that sort of school life with dungeons. And 1 and 2, that they have that, but in a different sense, I'd say.
Yeah.
So I guess like 3, 4, and 5 are their own trilogy, but yeah, 1 and 2, they need love, and hopefully one day they get them.
Yeah, and you're right though too. Like 3 onward is really kind of what I think defined the series for a lot of people, and got people invested, and interested in checking them out. And then 4 was the game changer that it was, like coming out at the end of the PS2's life and selling tons of copies. It was so weird.
It sold like over 1 million, or I think maybe even 2 million on Vita of all things, which is wow. That's impressive.
Yeah, that's nuts. What was actually, I should ask, what was your first Persona game?
So my first Persona was 3 Fez.
Nice. Me too.
But I played it for maybe like 10 hours on PS2, and I loved it. I just couldn't keep playing though. It's just more of a commitment than I needed to be tethered to a console. And so I left that to the side for a bit. I played 4 Golden on Vita, which I loved. I played through that entire thing, just like beginning to end, in the summer. And then I went back to 3 Portable after that, and then 5. So I started with 3, but I guess 4 was my real, like that's what really got me.
Sure. So that was the perfect answer that I was absolutely looking for. So the thing that I love about that is that you played Persona 3, and just like the Final Fantasy games, you can put it down and you can go pick up Final Fantasy 4 or 5. You can start wherever you want. So if you're interested in any of these games, the viewer, the listener, the person that's behind the screen here, we're talking directly to you now. Well, we have been the whole time, but you
can talk back to us too if you want to.
Yes.
We'll try and talk back.
Yes, please do. I'm not sure how well it will work. Hello? Are you there? Can you hear us?
You look great.
Is this the Midnight Channel right now? Help us, please.
Please help.
There's an evil John and Xeon on the other side. But so to not derail anymore, the topic I was getting, or the point I was getting at, was that you can start with any Persona game that you want. If Persona 5 Royal looks like the best choice for you, you really want to learn about Joker, don't feel bad about trying to have to go back and play these in order or anything like that. Because, I mean, I can't say for certain myself, but I believe these games don't really have any big connections between each other.
Not really. There's small little wings. Like 3 and 4 have like moderate connections, but if you haven't played 3 and you go into 4, it won't matter. Like there's things that people play through and be like, oh, that's neat, but otherwise it won't matter.
Okay, that's good to know. I know there's a fun, I don't want to spoil it, because I know it's pretty common knowledge for people these days, at least like in the circle, but there's a really cool Easter egg in Persona 3 Portable that maybe you remember as well? Yeah.
I think I do, yeah.
Cool.
But, we'll keep it secret for now, though.
Yeah. But yeah, if you're a fan of other Atlas games, you'll see that and it'll make you happy. But I don't think it's in... I think it's first in Portable. I don't think it was in the other ones.
I think that's right. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. It was around the same time the other game came out, I think.
Ooh,
yeah.
I'm so glad we're on the same wavelength with that.
But yeah, you're totally right. And I don't think there's any like definitive. Like, there's no Persona game of this trilogy where I'd say like, yeah, that's the best one. You've got to play that one, because they all have very different vibes. Like 5 is this big town vibe. Like you're in the middle of Tokyo. You're going on trains. You're going around. Dungeons are all like crafted rather than any random elements. Story's quite different to the other ones. Like that. That's great, but that's not definitively better than Small Town Inaba in 4. Like they have very different vibes that they go for. And like personally, I prefer 4 to 5, but I still really enjoyed 5 for what it was. Don't feel like that you have to go for a particular one, because I think your favorite could very well be any of these. Like there's no just outright definitive game of this set.
And I guess maybe you'd be the best one to answer this too, but all of them seem like they have drastically different tones and not play styles, but they all just they feel emotionally like different games. Like I know 3 is very dark, very
like
sad.
5 is like rebellion, then 4 is just like this cheery murder squad. They all have totally like 4's like all investigation, but it's the happiest murder investigation you'll ever play. They're totally different vibes.
Oh, that's great. I've never heard it described in that sense before, so that's completely changed my outlook. But I like it. It's the Danganronpa of the Persona series. Is that?
I guess so.
Another thing too that kind of struck me when chatting with other people about these games is that the replayability is there as well. That if you really enjoy them enough, I like we said too, they're massive games that you can spend a lot of time with. One of the biggest parts about these games is that you're establishing friendships and building connections with a lot of the characters within the game, and you, for the most part, kind of get to choose who you talk to, when and where, and I guess you do get multiple choice. So you get to say why you even want to talk to them in the first place. And depending on who you talk with, I don't know how much of the story really changes, but you get more information, or you get to see things that you maybe didn't get to see in another playthrough. Do you know how much that really affects the game, or how? I
mean, there's certain events like later on, like Valentine's or Christmas, that would change depending on how big your social link is with a certain party member. But I guess the big thing about social links, it's almost like grinding outside of battles. So you can keep working on your relationship with a certain party member, and the more you talk to them and just sort of spend time with them, you will like better them in battle. Like they'll get new battle skills, or being able to get new persona skills in battle. It's this cool extension where there's the battle side, there's the life side. They kind of merge together with social links. So you should definitely do it to better your combat skills. But yeah, there is a little bit of story depending on if how far you develop it.
Okay, cool. Because I remember, I think one of the big reasons too why I got turned off from playing Persona 3 back in the day was I have the Persona 3 strategy guide from Double Jump, and I think it wasn't compatible with FES or FES because things played out differently, or like in the school setting, you can interact with you have to like take tests, things like that, and you can always look up the answers online. But I really wanted to
always cheat those.
Yeah. And Persona 5 does it really well. Where like I love that so much that you can try to answer it honestly yourself. But if you want, you can click that button and it'll show you like how everybody else answered. And I don't know why that wouldn't come over for Switch, but I really hope that feature makes the jump too.
Almost
cool.
Everyone seems to use that feature. Like if you go, it shows you the like how many people chose a certain answer. And there's always a really low amount that got it wrong. So
yeah.
I guess the first person just looked it up, and then everyone just sort of copied their answer.
When I played Persona 3 FES or FES, I was trying to use the strategy guide, but the strategy guide I have is for the first game, and like all of the answers are completely different. And I think that really kind of turned me off because I was trying to maximize my route. I was trying to like be the smartest kid in the game, and I was trying to talk to everyone and say, like, because I think that even the strategy guide and online guides will break it down like talk to this person on this day and do this activity on this day, and you can absolutely do that, but it becomes so formulaic that I think I just wasn't having fun anymore. So I think another thing, I don't know how you feel about this, but use a guide when you need it and use it for the answers and replies and things like that. But I think don't try to like set yourself too hard on that like schedule, because I think eventually then you're just following someone else's path and you're not creating your own story within the world, your own experience. You're following in the footsteps of somebody else, and I think there is merit to that and fun to be had still. But I think a real cool part about Persona and the conversations that I've had with it with people over the years is kind of seeing what they did or who they talked to or what their favorite character was, and if you just have everyone be your favorite character, then I don't know, I think it could be less fun. So I
mean, it's like this is a game where it's meant to be like your life. You do what you want with it. And something that Persona 5 constantly encourages, like every time there's a loading screen, you'll have like a little joker in the corner and just the text, take your time. And that is like the best message you can do. Don't rush it, sink it, like just take it all in. And make it be your own journey. And I think like the only thing I would incentivize that you look up is like how to get the true ending, because there's in like Persona 4 in particular, There's quite a convoluted path of like what answers you should say towards the end to get the true ending. And if you mess up, then like you've got to start way back over again. So I'd recommend looking that up. But otherwise, like when it comes to social links, when it comes just to maximizing your time, just roll with it. Just improvise. I think you'll have the best time that way.
Thank you for that. That is very, as somebody who has not finished a Persona game ever, because of their length, which I feel like a faker, like a big faker, saying that out loud. Definitely, please go look that up. From what you've played too, are there certain characters that like if you don't like get their social link high enough, does that also affect your playthrough as well to like some extent? Like, do you have to get social links to a certain length to get the true ending too, or is it kind of just like you just have to say the right things towards the end? You know?
I believe one of Force requirements is maxing out Marie. I think it's been a while since I've done it.
Oh, and she's just in Golden, right?
Or
is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a new Golden character. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it might be important in some cases, but for the most part, social links, I guess, you get a story from them, but when it comes to the mandatory story, I think you're still just sort of forming your own path. I don't think it matters that much.
Okay, cool. This sounds like a good video topic, like tips before playing Persona, not just reasons you should play, but
might be a long video. Yeah. Well, when it comes to replay value, you're kind of touching on this earlier, but 3 Portable has a lot of reason for replay value. And I've seen a lot of like maybe complaints that it's not 3 Fez, and I get that. But 3 Portable, it definitely has.
I've definitely had those.
Yeah. 3 Portable has its losses. Like 3 Fez has like the ability to explore freely, which 3 Portable doesn't. It's more like a visual novel. Like all of the areas that you would be exploring, like the school or the mall, they're now just like flat images that you move a cursor around, and that's kind of lame. But at the same time, you also like you can control your party members in battle, which you couldn't do on PS2. But they're all AI control.
Oh, that's
so that's
right.
one huge change.
And because that's such a staple for future Persona games, I completely forget that.
Yeah. And it can mess you up. Like sometimes the AI just doesn't do what you want them to do. So Portable letting you choose like what your party members do, that's a big change. That's one of the big reasons that I kind of prefer Portable. But also there's the female protagonist who was new to Portable. And they're so different. Like the UI goes pink for one, but then there's all the soundtrack changes. Like every song that's in Persona 3 has a new track, and sometimes they're drastically different. There's new dialogue, there's new social links. So if you've played Fez,
that's really
just
cool.
play as the female protagonist. It'll feel like almost a new game, I reckon.
Another thing that you touched on earlier too was kind of just how, I mean, I guess we've touched on this like multiple times throughout the thing. It's just a running trend at this point, but a running theme. But is how immersive the world can be. And I think a large part of that, which you'll probably agree to, I think, is just the music. Like you can throw on the music at any point, and the soundtracks are so varied. But listening to the soundtrack outside of the games really can like pull you back into that world. And I think someone who hasn't played the games can listen and enjoy them, especially like if you've heard a lot of the music in Smash Bros. Thanks to Joker being in the game. But I think, gosh, the music is just so good.
It's so groovy. Like they all have that. Like we were talking about the vibes of each game, like Rebellion and Murder Mystery Gang, and just like the darkness of 3. But the music matches that. Like 3 has this almost like lo-fi, like rap kind of energy sometimes, and it works within the way it works in the world. And 4 is a bit more cheery, and then 5 has this sort of jazzy kind of tone to it, and it just complements everything. It complements the combat, the relationships. Each game has its own flavor, and the soundtrack is a huge part of that.
And even if you think to yourself too, like that you're not a fan of a certain genre of music too, I think once you spend time with the games too, I think you'll eventually just grow to appreciate the sounds for what they are, and you'll. I very much can say for myself that like there are songs in Persona 3 where like I start listening to them and I'm like, huh, am I enjoying this? And then like,
do I like this?
Yeah, and then like 30 seconds in, I'm like, oh yeah, absolutely. And it could be a bit of nostalgia.
Baby, baby, baby. Like the first time I heard that, I was like, what is this? And then the 100th time I was like, oh yeah, baby, 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 baby.
Yeah, I went to go send some music to Felix yesterday because he hasn't played a Persona game at all to him. And I was like, is he going to like this? And I was like, I don't care. He just needs to hear it. So I sent to the Persona 3 like Spotify playlist yesterday. I was just listen to this when you have a moment, because it's so different. And you're right, all the soundtracks are so widely widely different, and there's some beautifully, like in Persona 3, there's some beautifully moving tracks. I know Persona 4 is very, very happy-go-lucky for the most part, from what I've always known it as. And Persona 5 is just this jazzy thing that you can throw on when you need to study and relax for the most part. There are just so many elements that make these games so worthwhile. Like, even if I've seen like YouTubers talk about this before, like even if you're not a fan of RPGs or the anime subculture or anything, I think there are just so many reasons to get invested in these games that you might really surprise yourself. I don't know if Scott the Waz is a fan of these games, but even though he's not an RPG guy, I could see it. I could see it being his thing.
So Scott played a bit of 4.
Oh, did he?
And he enjoyed it. I don't know. I don't think he's ever going to finish it, but he did play a little bit of 4 and he did enjoy it.
Wow.
They're really accessible though. Like, it sounds complicated. Like there's all these social links. There's combat. There you got to balance your life, but when you're in the moment, it just flows. Like, you don't really think about the complexities. You just kind of roll with it. And I guess at its core, like, it's just kind of a simple turn-based RPG. But there's lots of layers under that though. Like, if you've played Shin Megami Tensei 5, for instance, like a newer Shin Megami Tensei game, I think you'll know that is quite in-depth. Like, you'll spend a lot of time merging monsters that you find and sort of getting the perfect demon party. And that stuff is in here, but I guess it's less emphasized. It's like just a small layer of many other layers. And so that sort of thinking about like your ideal party, that's still definitely in there. But I think you have to think about it less. So there's definitely depth, but it's not intimidating, which just feels really, really like low energy and cozy.
The games do have, like you said, they have tons of different layers, and that's something I haven't really thought about as well, is just how well the game kind of spits those different aspects of the game out at you. Like it doesn't really force you to try to learn everything all at once. It very, very like slowly kind of gives you different elements here and there to kind of let you understand its mechanics over time. So, it may sound overwhelming trying to like manage all these social links on top of like taking care of your party and making sure they're leveled up and having the right gear and then studying on top of this. But it really becomes, you kind of just, you fall into the motions after a while, and it becomes it can become an incredible escape for some people, but I think it's just also they're just really cool worlds that you want to spend time in because they're just so engaging.
Some of my favorite moments from Persona are when like you finish a story segment and you've just kind of got 3 days. So let's say you finished a dungeon and there's no more story. The story won't move on until you've reached a certain calendar day. And so you just spend those days, like you can like go to the library and try and up your knowledge skills. Or you can like go to like the baseball rink in Persona 5 and just try and like get your other bits higher. You can try and like get your dexterity higher. It's just like, it feels good to just be so in control and get into the flow of everything. And you will want to do that stuff, because there's certain things that you can't do until you're a certain skill. And that, like, those things that you can't do are going to make your skills even higher. So you definitely, like, you're always working towards something. There's always something you're doing. Whether it's the story, whether it's relationships, whether it's building yourself. You're always accomplishing something, even if it's small. And I think that's part of the reason it's just so rewarding to play these games. There is a lot of story, though. And for those who are maybe intimidated by that, I still think you should see through it. But, like, Persona 4 takes a while to start. There's a lot of text. Persona 5 starts pretty bombastically. That starts with like the break-in sequence in the museum. So I think that's probably the most approachable one to start with as a newcomer. But they're all great though. And the stories, like, even if there's a lot of text, it's good text. It's stuff you want to like get into.
Yeah, and one thing that you just made me think of too, while in a lot of different games, when it comes to like side quests and story beats, you like in Pokemon Legends, for example. This is maybe not the best example, but the side quests are not, I think, for the most part, and it's not bad. It just isn't. It just
I really want a Squirtle.
Yeah.
Thank you for the Squirtle. that's kind of how it goes.
And you have the opportunity to kind of like do all the side quests if you want, which for a while I was flying through the dialogue. I wasn't getting to know any of the characters because I just didn't care. And this game, during those free days that you were mentioning, where you kind of after you finish a story segment and you meet a new character or you finish a dungeon or something like that, you get a couple days to kind of go shopping or go spend time with whoever you want. But you can't do everything. You really have to stop and make choices And I think in these games too, those choices that you make feel so much more important because you can decide like, oh, maybe I want to go on a date to a movie with this, or maybe I want to go see a movie by myself, or maybe I want to go take this person out on a date, and you're in control. And since you can't do everything, those choices just feel so much more important. You really feel, because you can't go back. You can't spend more time with somebody else. Like you have an amount of time that you get to spend, and it feels special because it only comes around so often, like you were saying.
Yeah, like you can't always spend time with someone. Like sometimes, like you go out to them, and it's just like this won't improve your social link. You gotta wait for the particular moment. But sometimes that moment comes, and someone else is available. It's like, well, who do I choose? You know, it's just this. You've got to form your own path. Just keep going, play it like you were.
That's probably the best advice. The best advice, but also like the best reason why someone should play this game is just or these games, is just because it's insane how much you can toss yourself into these games and get lost and roll around in them and you'll want to spend every minute when you're there, and maybe you'll fall off, kind of like I did, you know. But I think I'm ready to lose myself again.
I think even if you fall off though, like you didn't finish 3, but you still have good memories of it. Like even if you don't finish it, I think it's still gonna leave an impact. Like I think you'll still be humming the songs like a decade from now, even if you don't finish the game.
I do.
Yeah.
They do hit you. They hit you and they stick around. Like the memories you have with these characters and like there's no way that you'll play Persona and walk away from it not remembering or feeling something. Like there's a lot of video games that like I was trying to think the other day, like I played Devil May Cry 5 and really liked it, but I beyond the music I can't tell you anything about that game. I think
whereas you'll finish one of these and you'll be like, my best friend is in this game. I'm best friends with, I don't know, Yukiko.
Perfect. And we get yakisoba every weekend. I go back and say hey to her. But well, did you have any beyond? I feel like that's the best closing remark you could make. But did you have any final thoughts, John, about why people should play these games, or are you set?
Well, I think Switch owners, they've been waiting for a while. We've had a lot of games with Joker in. Smash is just one of them. He's a costume in Tokyo Mirage Sessions. We got the Persona 5 sequel, Persona 5 Strikers, Persona Q2 on 3DS, of course. Joker is a costume in Sonic Forces. Like, there's a lot of different appearances of Joker that aren't Persona 5. So it's nice that you can finally play the actual game that all of this is from. But I think it's more than just like little references and cameos. Like these games stand on their own. They always have. Also, I think just the legacy of the future. Like Persona 6 is gonna happen sometime soon. We don't know when, but it will happen eventually. It's been 6 years in Japan since Persona 5 came out.
Atlas has been teasing stuff like with the anniversary stuff. I remember there was like a secret like silhouette character or something like that, but then we haven't seen anything about it. But you're right, it has to be in the works.
Right. 6 is going to stand on its own too, but I think this is kind of the time to get invested. Pick whichever one you want. It doesn't have to be all 3. Just like choose the vibe you like the most. If you like the look of 3, buy 3. If you like the look of 5, maybe play 5. And I think that you'll have a good time no matter which one you choose. So yeah, I think it's time that you get what you deserve after all these references and teasers. We're finally having Persona on Switch, and it just feels right.
Yeah, and it does feel like I saw a few people say it's a little too late, but like don't be like that. Like if you want to play Persona,
never too late.
Yeah, it's just get into it, you know? Persona 3 Portable is I don't know how old it is at this point, like I don't know, 10 or 15, probably 10 years. Maybe 15 is a little too far, but
I don't know. The PSP well, maybe. It was like 2009, I want to say.
That sounds right. I know it was a late PSP game, but you know, never in the world of gaming, it's never too late. You know, you can play like, I mean, how many people probably played their first Metroid game recently? Just so
yeah, for Dread, for sure.
Yeah, right.
And when it came to Persona 5, I played through that so slowly because I'm used to playing on a portable system. So I played through 4 on Vita, went back to 3 on Vita as well. But when it came to 5, I had to play on PS4, and that was really inaccessible because these are the kind of games I put in sleep mode and just sort of do what I can when I can. But now that I'm on a console, I've got to dedicate my time, and so I was playing like most of the evenings, and it was tough. So I beat that game in like 2 years, opposed to 4, which I beat in like a month. So it's really nice to have it in this format.
Well, that's a really good recommendation too, that if anybody out there I will say my partner and I, we made it about 50 hours into Persona 5, and we fell off because I think it was taking up our evenings, and we just were doing other things, like a show came out or a new game. But so if you were kind of like me and you started Persona 5 and you fell off, and feel kind of like how John felt, maybe dive back in on Switch now, because Persona, now that we're getting the Royal version as well, I've been told that it's an incredible game in comparison to Persona 5, that they improved a lot of things, and there's that new character and lots of other things that I don't know about, but that there's a different game waiting there for you, especially if you fell off on a console. Well, thanks, John, for coming on to chat all about Persona. I felt like you were a very fair person and to talk about it. And of course, I want any excuse
hell yeah.
I can get to talk to my boy.
I really appreciate it. I love Persona, and I have for years. It's great just seeing it becomes something else. Like, I remember when I first played 3, it was this niche. It was something that people talked about in forums and everything, but no one in the brand of media was talking about it. And then suddenly, 4 got some buzz, but 5 just set things on fire. And it's awesome seeing this series now be a huge deal. We've come a long way.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy to see, really, just how much it has all changed. Well, of course, everybody, please go give John some love on Good Vibes Gaming. I'll leave a link in the description down below. Especially whenever your Sonic and the Secret Rings video comes out, please everybody go watch that and tell him that we sent you. And of course, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos like this, then why don't you find a way to improve the social link with your subscribe button that you have. Maybe. I've heard clicking it really helps, that it really enjoys it when you click the subscribe button. Would you attest to that, John, do you think?
I've heard this rumor. Yeah, I think it loves it. It makes it giggle with glee to the point where it's gonna burst. So click it quick before it's too late.
If you have a bell equipped, you can always ring that as well. That's a nice little gesture as well. It gets you bonus points. And of course, let us know in the comments below if you're planning on picking up any of the Persona games. If you've played them before, let us know a non-spoiler reason why somebody should play them as well. And just, thank you all for watching. We appreciate that you made it all the way to the end of this however long discussion about the Persona series. Thanks for being here, John. Stay safe out there, everyone, and we will see you all next time.
I'm waving to a camera that I'm not recording.
I will also wave.